My family's been in Chapel Hill for a very long time. My father tells me that our relatives go back to pre-revolutionary in Orange County itself. My family had a farm out in White Cross off 54, right behind where the Citgo station is nowadays. And they lived in Tier Township, and on their land they would farm, and they would farm peppers. So I grew up, there is a parking lot right behind where I live right now that used to be my great-grandmother's farm when they moved from the country into the city of Chapel Hill, the big town of Chapel Hill. And so they had still kept farming on the land that was located there. And when that became a parking lot, my grandfather had pepper plants growing behind the adjacent property here, and he would grow. He was the last person to make the pepper relish, and he did it out of cayenne peppers. I remember him harvesting and digging in the soil and setting up the meat grinder on the kitchen table and grinding the peppers and cooking it all day. That was probably around 25 years ago or so. That was the last time that anybody in my family had made a big batch of pepper relish. We still have that in the basement. We still eat it occasionally on special occasions. But about 3 years ago, I've been thinking about it running out and that the supplies were dwindling. So I asked my father to help me with the recipe, to teach me how to do it. He had made it with his father, although he hadn't made a big batch for us to consume as a family. I decided to make a mixture of jalapenos and serranos since I could buy them at that time and just bring it home and we could see how it was. He eyeballed the ingredients and said, this looks about right of the onions, this looks about right of the peppers. We didn't get out the meat grinder, but we used the Cuisinart and chopped them up and did our first little batch on the stovetop where my great-grandmother, my grandfather, and now my father and I had made the pepper relish. So the ingredients had changed slightly just due to the peppers, but it came out the same. Family has always been a big draw. Our roots are here, and the community is lovely to come back to. It's changed, it's grown a whole lot from when I used to just come and visit my grandparents living here. We've got high rises and it's a different town now. But I love the greenery. I love that there's still wildlife, I guess, that we're still, my family's always been here on Cottage Lane. When I came back almost 3 years ago now, my husband and I talked about where we were going to live. We could have moved anywhere at that time. We could have lived in Durham, we could have lived in Raleigh, we could have lived anywhere else. And I thought, no, I only want to live on Cottage Lane. And it did work out. I'd never thought that spicy was unusual or pain. I probably did. I probably did think it was painful when my father would feed it to me when I was in my high chair. We grew up eating it on pizza, so we ate it a lot because we ate pizza a lot. And my sister remembers me sitting in a high chair with my father shoveling pizza and relish and tears streaming down my face. So I was acclimated to spice quite early, and I never thought anything about it. I also worked at a infamous restaurant in Chapel Hill called the Flying Burrito, which was a Mexican place, and a lot of spicy there as well, especially with jalapenos and habaneros. That's when I first sort of encountered habanero as well, which we use in the Cape Fear. I worked with somebody this past weekend, and she said, I really enjoy sampling your product because it is what it says on the label. It is spicy. It's not a watered down just with a little bit of hint. It's full on peppers. That's our first ingredient. So be prepared.